There's nothing quite like the freedom that comes with owning your own airplane. Whether it's packing up the family and heading cross-country, or spending the day exploring with fellow aviation enthusiasts. The downside is that it can be a quite expensive hobby to get into. In this video, I'm going to break down the costs of ownership of an airplane and operating that airplane. The aircraft I'm going to use as an example in this video is the Cessna 172. It is one of the most popular airplanes ever made. Unfortunately, right now, aircraft purchase prices have skyrocketed. This is mostly due to the pandemic and the travel freedom owning your own aircraft gives you. No TSA lines or COVID tests owning your own airplane, and cash buyers have gobbled up most of the available inventory. This has inflated prices by 30 or 40%, sometimes more. For this video, we'll estimate you can buy a mid-1970s Cessna 172, pretty basic but with autopilot, for about $100,000. We'll say that this airplane is in compliance with all its airworthiness directives and has about 1,000 hours on its motor. We'll also say that we fly this airplane about 150 hours per year. Your cost of ownership can be broken down into two major parts: fixed cost and direct variable costs. Fixed costs are just that. They are fixed and do not change. Whether you fly 1 hour or 100 hours, they'll be the same cost. Fixed costs are things like hangar rental and insurance. We will put part of the annual inspection costs in this as well, although those costs do vary and we will include those in the variable costs. A lot of direct costs can vary depending on your location, but a nice hangar in the DFW area is about $500 a month. A fairly good insurance rate for a Cessna 172 would be about $1,200 a year. And your annual inspection, assuming they don't find anything major wrong, is about $1,500 a year. We will add another $500 a year for miscellaneous costs such as charts and subscriptions. This brings our total fixed costs per year to $9,200, and that's before you fly a single hour. Your direct costs are directly correlated to how much you fly. Your biggest direct cost will be your fuel burn. Fuel varies widely around the country, but for this example, we'll use a cost of $5 per gallon. The Cessna 172 averages about 9 gallons an hour, so we'll call it $45. We'll throw in a couple dollars more for oil, and that brings us to $47 an hour in fuel and oil. The other major variable cost will be your maintenance. Many components on the airplane are limited by hours, and so we'll say we need about $20 in maintenance for every hour we fly. There are plenty of other direct costs that can be associated with flying. These are things like landing fees, or if you're taking the airplane outside of the United States, air traffic control fees. Most airports in the United States do not charge a landing fee. They build an extra tax into the fuel cost to help pay for the operation of the airport. Some of the larger airports that mostly service airlines do build in a landing fee. They do this to discourage the small aircraft from coming to the airport, as they're already fairly crowded with the airline traffic. Thankfully, there are no air traffic control fees in the United States. They're already built into your regular taxes, but if you venture outside the United States, you will have to pay for that country's air traffic control. For this example today, we will assume you are not going to any airports that charge landing fees and you are not taking the airplane outside of the United States. So that takes our total direct operating cost to $67 an hour for the Cessna 172. So flying our airplane at 150 hours a year brings our total direct operating cost to $10,050 per year. Adding that to our fixed costs that were $9,200 a year, that brings our total just shy of $20,000 a year to $19,250. If we divide that by our 150 hours, that gives us about $128 per hour to operate our Cessna 172. That doesn't sound too bad. If we took our family of 3 on a round-trip flight from Dallas to Houston, it would cost us about $435 and save us a lot of time and convenience as avoiding the airlines. 3 round-trip tickets on an airline would be about $900, so we're saving about half the cost by flying our own airplane. That sounds pretty good, right? But we're not finished there. Remember how I said when we bought our airplane it already had 1,000 hours on the motor? Well, the TBO, or the time before overhaul, on our Lycoming engine is 2,000 hours. You don't necessarily have to overhaul the engine at that time, but it is recommended, and you'll probably have a tough time getting insurance for an engine going over that limit. The cost to overhaul that engine can be about $25,000. We already had 1,000 hours on our engine when we bought it, and we're flying 150 hours a year, so that gives us about 7 years until we need an engine overhaul. So $25,000 divided by that 7 years gives us about $3,500 per year of extra cost. So adding that $3,500 to our previous cost gives us a total of $22,750 per year. That's just over $150 per flight hour. So that really only increases our round trip to Houston by about $50, which is still way less than paying for the airline. And the good news is we won't have to overhaul our engine for at least another 14 years, which reduces our engine overhaul value to about $1,700 a year instead of $3,500. So that means from that point going forward, we'll be spending $20,900 a year for our total ownership cost, including 150 flight hours per year. Most classic Cessnas, such as the one in this example, are appreciating year over year. In 2001, our Cessna 172 might have been purchased for $45,000, and we purchased it in this example for $100,000. So our airplane is appreciating at $2,750 per year. So adjusting our cost of ownership, adding value through our appreciation brings us to a total cost per year of $18,150. So there you have it. Now you have to decide, is that in your budget and is it of value to own your own airplane? Thank you so much for watching, and let me know down in the comments what you think of my calculations. If you think they are correct, please click that like and subscribe button so you get notified when I post the next video.